Good evening, everyone. The time is 7 o'clock. It is Monday, September the 23rd, 2024, and I'm going to call to order the meeting of the Board of School Directors of Upper Dublin School District, the legislative meeting, excuse me, for the month of September. Ms. Evans, if you could call the roll, please.
Ms. Jenna Evans.
Present.
Ms. Ionetti.
She's excused this evening.
Mr. Held.
Present.
Ms. Redding.
Present.
Ms. Sherpier. Dr. Thomas.
Present.
Mr. Sirota.
Present.
Mr. Warschauer.
Present.
Mr. Wallach.
Present.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Evans. If everyone could please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you, everyone. Good evening to everyone in the audience or potentially watching at home. I think we're celebrating the second day of fall today, and we're about 2 or 2.5 weeks into the new school year. So I think we're due for some updates as to what's going on in our schools and our school district. So we're going to have 2 reports and presentations tonight, fresh back from summer break and ready to tackle the new year. We've got Izzy Fishman, who is our school student government representative. And Izzy, if I could ask you to give your report.
Thank you. Welcome back to school. I hope you've all been enjoying the new life around the school. September has been an exciting month for Upper Dublin students. Starting off with the first day of school, our freshmen came in a little early to do fun team building activities with SGA. The musical chairs wasn't the only fun part of SGA's week, though. PBIS's Welcome Back Week Spirit Days really stirred up some Cardinal pride as students dressed up red, gray, white, and wacky. Seniors also continued their yearly tradition of Senior Sunrise to kickstart a great year. Starting the year off with a bang, 5 UD students were named semifinalists for national merit based on their work from the PSATs, with less than 1% of all students nationwide receiving this honor. And with the upcoming PSATs for our sophomores and juniors, we look forward to this opportunity for our Cardinals to continue to achieve. The kickoff of UD Sports has been continuously exciting for students, with the first Friday Night Lights at Cardinal Stadium last Friday. The beginning of the season for fall sports at UD has been very promising, with both girls and boys soccer landing at the top of the Liberty Division and girls volleyball remaining undefeated in league. This scratches just the surface of the impressive athletic achievements of the fall season, and we wish our Cardinal athletes luck with the rest of their season. The effort of UD athletes, however, is nothing new. Upper Dublin alumni joined us for the 2024 Athletic Hall of Fame inductions. Congratulations to all those truly representing Cardinal pride this month.
Thank you so much, Izzy. We appreciate that as always. Good to hear that everything's off to a great start. We'll keep moving along. Dr. Smith with her superintendent's report.
Thank you, Mr. Wallach, and good evening, everyone. As Izzy said, it has been a great start to the school year here for our Cardinals. We welcomed our students back on September 3rd, which I can't believe how quickly time is flying, and we're almost a month into the school year, but it feels as if we never left. Our students really got right back into their routines. We've had grade level and school assemblies to set expectations, activities, fairs, and of course our back to school nights, both elementary and middle school, have already occurred, and our high school is this Thursday night, and all of those have been well attended as well, and I greatly appreciate our teachers and staff as well as our principals for running those nights. As Izzy mentioned, we had the Athletic Hall of Fame. It was a wonderful event this past Saturday where we were able to recognize individuals as well as teams that were inducted into that group. This is the 10th class, and I have to say just thank you to Mr. Highland and the rest of his staff for organizing that, but quite a event, and the stories that each of the inductees and who was introducing them shared really were very touching to hear about, and I would say a couple tearjerkers were in there to hear about their trials and tribulations over time. We were also, as a district, very proud to partner with NASA for the premiere of our Upper Dublin alumni James Trolley's documentary To an Asteroid and Back, and thank you to Mr. Patel and Mr. Trantis for helping with all of that. It was very well attended, and it also highlighted the use of our planetarium. And Izzy also mentioned our National Merit semifinalists. They will be invited to next month's board meeting for the board to recognize them, as will our Upper Dublin High School art teachers, because they have been recognized, our high school, as an outstanding visual arts community by the Pennsylvania Art Education Association, which is, again, quite a recognition and one that we are very proud of, all of our students and our art teachers across the district. And just more on a little bit of a personal note, but on Monday, September 30th, I am excited. I will be joining our high school environmental science students on the Schuylkill River, kayaking for water investigation and determining the ecological health of the 6-mile portion. So hopefully I will see you after that and make it back successfully. But I'm excited to be out with our students and enjoying some time with them and our teachers. So thank you.
Thank you for that, Dr. Smith. Will we have video at next month's meeting?
We'll see.
Thank you for that report. We'll keep moving along. Next up is our first opportunity for public participation. This is for agenda and action items only. If anyone would like to address the board, please come up to the microphone, state your name and your city of residence, or affirm that you're a resident or taxpayer of the district, and Ms. Evans will time your 4 minutes. I do not see anyone approaching the microphone, so I will close our first opportunity for public participation. We will have a second opportunity later on in our meeting. We'll keep going. We have our minutes from our August 26th, 2024 legislative meeting. They have been distributed to the board. If I could have a motion to approve those minutes.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Sirota. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Held, thank you so much. Questions or comments on the minutes? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Excellent, thank you so much. Next, we'll move on to our Education Committee recommendations, and Ms. Sherbier.
All right, thank you. We have 4 items on the agenda, and I'd like to make a motion to approve, that the board approve all 4 of them. First one is the teacher support program, then the connections program here for the upper grades 6 to 12, and student activities and conferences.
Thank you for that. Do I have a second on that motion? Mr. Warschauer, thank you so much. Questions or comments? Ms. Sherbier.
I'm actually curious, the teacher support program, the student teachers, are we getting any student teachers this year? And if so, do you feel that this program is an incentive for the student teachers to participate?
Yes, we've been alerted that there's one teacher who successfully secured a grant. Last spring, when FIA announced the grant opportunities, there were about 4,000 applicants for very few grant opportunities. So I'm not sure how the selection process actually occurred, but we do know that we have one student teacher who did secure a grant through FIA.
And does this have any implications for the cooperating teacher or the district?
Yes, the cooperating teacher gets a stipend that's paid through the higher education institution where the student is attending. And the student teacher will be paid as a pass-through through Upper Dublin to the student teacher in order to distribute those funds.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Excellent, motion carries. Next up, we'll have our Finance Committee recommendations. Mr. Sirota.
Thank you. We have a shorter than usual Finance Committee recommendation section tonight. We've got 4 items. The first 3 were discussed in detail at our Finance Committee meeting last week, and the last is our regular monthly payments, and I will make a motion to approve all 4.
Thank you, Mr. Sirota. Do I have a second on that motion?
Second.
Ms. Evans, thank you so much. Questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Excellent. Motion carries. We'll next move on to our Personnel Committee recommendations, and Ms. Redding.
We have 2 personnel for motion tonight. I am going to be splitting them up. So item A on the personnel report, motion for that, for approval for tonight.
Thank you for that, Ms. Redding. Do I have a second on the motion for item A?
I'll second it.
Mr. Sirota, thank you so much. Questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Excellent. Ms. Redding, back to you.
And the second, item B, for cafeteria, playground, pool staff compensation plan, have a motion for that as well, but I understand we also have some abstentions from that.
Okay, let me get a second on that motion first, if I can.
I'll second it.
Mr. Sirota, thank you so much. Questions or comments on that motion? Ms. Evans?
Probably a good point to chime in here. I'm going to abstain from this particular motion. My husband is an employee of the district who is covered by this particular compensation plan. So in order to avoid any appearance of any conflict of interest, I'm going to abstain from the vote.
Mr. Held, it looks like you're grabbing the microphone.
And similar to Ms. Evans, I'm also abstaining from this for a similar reason. My wife is an employee of the district, and so to avoid any appearance of conflict of interest, I will be abstaining.
Appreciate that. Any other questions or comments, Ms. Redding?
I did want to give Ms. Ashley opportunity to just explain a little bit about the role, cafeteria, playground, and pool staff compensation plan, and what it entails.
Sure. Ms. Kitten?
So just for a point of clarity, we have multiple compensation plans in the district. This compensation plan covers our cafeteria, playground aides, and our pool staff, not our food services employees. So just for that point of clarity, cafeteria, playground aides, and pool staff, that's what this covers, and that's what you're voting on tonight.
Other questions or comments? Okay. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And do we have any abstentions? We have two. They are noted of record. Thank you so much. Okay, we'll keep moving along. Next up is our pupil services recommendations. We have 3 educational that have been shared with the board, and I will make a motion to approve all 3 of those. So that's items 8A, B, and C. And is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Ms. Sherpier, thank you so much. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Excellent, thank you so much. Next up is our policy committee recommendations. Ms. Ianniti couldn't be with us tonight, so I'm going to ask our vice chair, Dr. Thomas, to take this.
So we have several policies up for first reading, and we would be approving those minutes from the policy committee.
Excellent.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you so much for those first readings. Do I have a second on that motion?
I'll second.
Ms. Evans, thank you. Questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you so much. We have 2 items of other business this evening, and I'm going to ask Mr. Sirota to take those.
Thank you. Yes, we have 2 items. First is the Pennsylvania PSBA annual officer elections, the slate of candidates running unopposed. And the second is a contract for legal services. I will make a motion to approve both of these items, 10A and B.
Thank you, Mr. Sirota. Do I have a second on that motion?
I'll second.
Ms. Redding, thank you. Questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Excellent, motion carries. Moving right along, we're up to our solicitor's report and our Sunshine Act announcements. Mr. Diazio.
Thank you. Yes, the board met in executive session tonight prior to the board meeting. The items that the board discussed in executive session were the personnel report that was approved a few moments ago and the contents of that report, and also the superintendent and assistant superintendent goals and evaluation process for the current school year. Thank you.
Thank you. We are next up to our second opportunity for public participation. If anyone would like to address the board, please come up to the microphone, state your name and city of residence, or affirm that you're a resident or taxpayer of the district, and Ms. Evans will time your 4 minutes.
All of you folks, Mr. Lind, 55-year resident of Upper Dublin, Summit Avenue. Have you been following the agenda that we get? I can't, it doesn't seem to follow. Anyway, is this the part of the meeting where you can make any acerbic comments that you wish to make? Okay, so acerbic comment number 1. I was at the meeting of the township where they went over the zoning board commission looking at this new corrugated metal latrine-looking building that you want to put right next to the elementary school. I was surprised to find out that our superintendent was there supporting what looked to me as the support person from the district with the lawyer. I've been to lots of public meetings about buildings that were built in this district. Sandy Run Elementary, Sandy Run Middle School, the Maple Glen Elementary School, the tearing down of the old building and building this, the seventh wonder of the modern world. All of these things I've been to, I've never once seen a superintendent being a support member for a legislative, for a legal meeting. I have seen superintendents show up to give testimony as to the look of the building that they're going to build, the school building, to support how it's going to support the educational process. Never seen that in a meeting. And I'm angry at it. I'm angry at it that you should send a superintendent. I'll be really angry when I see the PSSA scores come in and see whether they went up or down. We've already gone down in the last 10 years from number 2 to Lower Merion, to being 6th or 7th in Montgomery County. Are we going to drop further because we send our superintendent out to support something that the people that are on the property committee don't want to go to? Oh, why don't you want to go to a property meeting if you're on a property meeting committee? No, we don't want to be seen by our neighbors who hate this building. We don't want to be seen there because we might be voted out at the next election, and that would go bad against our resumes that we're building for our future well-being. So I'm angry. You should send out our superintendent, unless she volunteered. But why should she volunteer? Her job is education, not property. So I just want you to know that there was anger at that meeting, and many people, including a couple that we met after the building was over. Why is our superintendent supporting this meeting? Yeah, I know, it's only a meeting. So I just want you to know, it was very bad. There are a lot of people that are angry, and I certainly am one. And I'm going to be watching for those PSSA scores and see what's going on.
I do not see anyone else approach. Oh, someone else is approaching.
Thank you. Joe Berto, resident of Drescher. I want to speak for a few minutes about the middle school field hockey program and the facilities. First, I'd like to thank Steve Pickford and Pam Olszewski for their hard work with the program. We got a 7th grader at Sandy Run and a senior at the high school. My oldest started playing field hockey with Pam in middle school years ago, and she'll be playing field hockey at University of Scranton this coming fall. Pam played a large part in Olivia's development with her patience and positive attitude with young teenage girls, who, as you know, are not easy to keep engaged at times. So thank you, Pam, if you're watching. My youngest daughter, Lucy, is on the middle school team this year, and I'm volunteering to help Pam out at Sandy Run. I'm also a PIAA official for softball and field hockey, so I had a pretty good chance to see the large impact that sports can play on the development of our daughters, and also see what the facilities look like at many different schools in the area. To put it bluntly, the field at Sandy Run is in pretty rough shape this year. Last year with the new sod, it was decent, but between the drought we're in now and the athletic field being used for daily recess for hundreds of middle school kids, as it stands now, it's not safely playable this season. Soccer and football can probably get away with a bumpy, trampled field to some extent, but field hockey especially needs smooth ground for the girls to be able to control the smaller ball and develop their skills. Ideally, field hockey would be on equal ground with football and be able to share the Sandy Run artificial turf for practices and for at least some of the games. Although right now that field is lined for football, soccer, and I think lacrosse, but field hockey was not included in that lining for some reason. If the grass field is going to be used going forward, it'll need to be aerated and overseeded before the winter, ideally, with recess shifted off of there for the artificial turf, most likely to keep the kids growing. And it'll need to be irrigated during dry times, which usually come during the summer, obviously. Otherwise, that sod is going to need regular replacement at some expense to the district, and we'd like. For this season, the grass is probably not going to recover. It's in pretty rough shape, if any of you have seen it. So the best course of action is probably to cut the sparse, tall tufts of dry grass that are still there as short as possible to make it as playable as it can be for the girls. I've asked Mr. Pickford if this would be possible this week, because their first game is actually this coming Friday at home. And he's trying to get it on the facility schedule ASAP, but it wasn't clear if that would happen or not. So my goal today was just to make sure that we're all aware of the situation there and think about the best course of action for our daughters going forward. Thank you.
Now I don't believe I see anyone else approaching, so I will close our second opportunity for public participation. I will note that we received no written comments in advance of this meeting. I'll address one issue that I believe we are following the agenda exactly as it's printed in the agenda, and I don't believe there have been any deviations from that, but I'm happy to go back and watch to make sure I didn't do something out of order. Any comments or responses from the administration, Dr. Smith?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Wallach. Just two quick things. I will certainly be happy to work with Mr. Leckman and our facilities and our middle school athletic director to investigate what has been shared regarding the field hockey facilities. And as far as the transportation facility, it is customary at a zoning hearing board that the district be represented by legal counsel, and in my role as superintendent, I find it very important for me to be present during those type of proceedings, not only to support our administrative team that might be there, but also to hear the conversation and make sure that I have an understanding of community sentiment as well as how our proceedings are going. So I certainly did attend each one of those zoning hearing board meetings, and I plan to attend the rest of them, and that certainly is at my discretion to do so. I was not directed to. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Dr. Smith. Any other comments or responses from the board? Okay, we'll move on to our informational items. We have our enrollment report, as we usually do. We have our liaison committee reports, which I think do look a little bit sparse this month because a lot of things are just starting to get up and rolling as we get into the school year. That said, do any liaisons have anything else to note or to add that's not in our report? Okay. We have our monthly committee meeting minutes from the August 21st Policy and Finance Committee. Both of those minutes, they were approved by the separate committees back then, in September for August. And finally, we're up to our schedule for upcoming meetings. Our next meetings will be Education Committee on Tuesday, October the 8th at 6 o'clock with the Policy Committee meeting at 7 o'clock or immediately following thereafter. And everyone should note that normally those meetings are on Wednesday nights, but due to the Jewish holiday and then due to a schedule conflict, we have it moved to a Tuesday night so that everybody's aware of that. Our next Finance Committee meeting will be Wednesday, October the 16th, and our next legislative meeting will be Monday, October the 28th at 7 o'clock here in the Cardinal Room. With that, I thank everyone, and we are